Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. My guest today is Randy Brothers. I think that's your right name, Randy, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Funny
you're
enough,
with the
it happens all the
Roofing
time.
Academy. Okay, so Randy, tell me, what does the Roofing Academy do? How do you do it? And I guess you have a book out. I'd like to hear about the book too.
Yeah, so the Roofing Academy itself is kind of like a full-fledged business operating system designed specifically for roofing contractors of all different shapes and sizes. We designed it to essentially take a contractor from conception or startup all the way through, scalability. I got contractors that are just getting started with us, like literally just starting their business, and we're helping them get that whole process done. And I have contractors that we've worked with for a number of years that have done exits that have actually sold recently. So
Okay.
quite a spectrum there, but I've been in the roofing industry for a long time, and I'm definitely passionate about giving back and helping as many good people systemize their business as possible and find success.
Okay. So tell me, what is your book and what does it talk about?
So the book is it's called Start It, Build It, Grow It: The Contractor's Guide to Success. And I guess to go back to the early story, so I'm a contractor first. I was a general contractor. I used to build homes, and then for another company, and then I started my company about 18 years ago. And we did a lot of remodel work and trades, like remodel, basement finish, decks, fences, pretty much anything I can get my hands on, and with the goal of being a home builder again. And through that process, there wasn't really back then. There was no real books. This was before the days of Amazon, and there wasn't
Right.
any real business books that I could read to help me learn about how to build a successful construction company. So, fast forward, shoot, it's been a couple of years now, but fast forward 10, 12, 15 years, I managed to figure out a few things and build a pretty successful company, turn that company into a roofing company, and then kind of built that up. So I just felt the need or the calling really to take my journey and put it into a book that was like the one I never could find when I was
I
very
see.
early
Well,
on in my
tell me,
career.
what's the name of your book and what does it cover?
Yeah, it's called Start It, Build It, Grow It: The Contractor's Guide to Success. And essentially it covers everything from, building a brand to implementing a sales system to implementing production when you got to produce and operations to financial strategies and profitability. So the way I look at a roofing and or construction company is you got 5 key pillars. And one of them is branding and marketing. One of them is sales leadership. Another one is operations. So it's production, delivery, quality control. And then you have people. So you got to know how to hire, train, onboard, retain great people. And then you have the numbers. You got to implement systems from a technology standpoint as well as from a financial standpoint. So I wanted to help with all 5 of those. So we broke down a number of different pieces within the book that covers all 5 of those things, as well as a lot of my own personal story and experiences as I've made all the mistakes you can make
I know.
to hopefully
I wrote a
help
book
others
too
do the
called
same.
Contractors Success Tips, same kind of thing, all the mistakes I made. So let's go through those items. I think even though you specialize in roofers, the thing in the book applies to all. Can you get that on Amazon? Where do they get the book?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Just search out "Start It, Build It, Grow It: The Contractor's Guide to
Okay.
Success," and it'll pop up there. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go through this a little more detail. So the first pillar is,
Marketing. So combining marketing and branding. I mean, I believe a lot of contractors are really good at what they do, but they struggle with building a great brand for their
so
organization.
how,
So
well, how do you build a great brand? I mean, obviously, if you've got a bunch of private equity and they hand you $1 million, it's a lot harder, it's easier, right? But say don't have a PE firm, somebody hasn't hand you $1 million and say, you're starting your firm, maybe you put together 100 grand to get it started, maybe not, right?
yeah.
So how do you brand without cash?
Well, you hand to hand combat. You got to do whatever you got to do to get the work to get your business started. And maybe it's friends, family, knocking doors, maybe getting into networking groups or find your way in to earn the opportunity to do business and over deliver on that and do an exceptional job with your customers and allocate some dollars from the income from that towards branding and towards
Now,
marketing.
what does branding look like? You think of branding, you think of Procter and Gamble has, a zillion brands or whatever.
Yeah.
What, as a contractor, does it mean your logo? Does it mean you wear the right shirts? Does it have to do with reputation? How do you build reputation? Does it have to do with, whatever your elevator pitch is, or like ours is like we help contractors build great teams. What does branding involve?
It's all those things, but I think at its core, we really focus vision, values, and then brand, right? So understanding what the purpose is of the company, the vision of the company, what your end game is. Are you trying to sell? Are you trying to build a legacy company? Like, what are you trying to do with this business? What are the values of that company? I think it's really important to really focus on the foundational elements, because once I understand the true foundation, where I'm going, what the vision is, and what I want to do with my business, it makes it a little bit easier to then implement all the things you just talked about as far as the branding, like specific logo, specific color schemes, specific slogans, and little things like that you can really rally behind. And I believe that, having a great foundation of core values and a vision from the leader, from the founder of the company, is a really important piece in order to then intentionally build a brand around that. And then, yeah, so much of it is being like, we just rebranded a little bit. Like you see on here, it's Elite Roofing and Solar. It used to be Elite Roofing, and we rebranded to Elite Roofing and Solar. We changed the logo up a little bit. We're in process of rewrapping all of our trucks. We're in process of every single article, every website, every pamphlet, all the things that we've had, all the shirts, all the things that we've created, we had to go back and change them all out. So I'm in process of getting rid of all the old and bringing in the new. But I think consistency is super important, that you have a consistent color scheme, have a logo that's attractive, have a brand name that's attractive, all backed with a really great purpose. I think that's the fundamental foundation. Like, obviously, I can go off on this for a long time, but those are at least the
Randy,
fundamental.
one of the issues is everybody, integrity, honesty, being forthright. You sound like a church. I mean, no offense, it's like a lot.
Yeah.
When you start doing these value things, if you're a Christian or a Buddhist, or they have these, why am I alive? What is the purpose of living? How do you get some values that don't sound a little bit esoteric? I know a lot of our values, if you've ever read the Four Agreements, have it pretty much coincide with the Four Agreements. I guess I sort of borrowed his. But how do you put those out without sounding redundant or trite? You know what I mean? Oh, we do a great job. We're honest. We're trustworthy. We keep our word. The classic kind of value stuff.
I believe that, and we teach this stuff. It's like everybody's a habit. Core values is not just a slogan or something written on the wall that that sound good or that look cool for you, right? That's what you're saying. I believe that you have to truly exemplify those in all aspects of life, and specifically to building a company. When you mess up is when your values really stand. When you make mistakes, and when you really focus on the customer experience from the cradle to grave, that's when you really expose what your company is all about, and for us,
I'm going to give you a question we ask on our assessment, which I think gets to this point. Maybe you can answer this question. So one of our questions on the assessment is, your boss, who's your good buddy, asks you to tell the customer the product will be delivered in 2 weeks. It's 4 weeks. The boss knows it's 4 weeks. What are you going to do? You're going to lie and support your boss, or tell the truth?
Tell the truth. I mean,
right.
Hands down.
That's an expression of a value, right?
Absolutely. Yep. See, I believe that the baseline of this is, the old cliche, under promise and over deliver, right?
Right.
I believe it's our responsibility to set realistic and manageable expectations, and then over deliver on those expectations.
Right.
And if you can consistently do that, your customers become your greatest branding, right? Look up our company. We just celebrated 500, 5-star reviews. And that's an incredible feat, because every one of those customers are people that we've had an experience with, that have experienced our brand and our process and who we are as a company. That's powerful. It takes a while to get there, but like I said, every customer set great expectations and over deliver on those expectations. And own your mistakes and fix it when you go wrong. And that's a great foundation to build a really successful company.
Okay. So, I mean, value is tell the truth. The value is, serve your client's interests over your own, that kind of stuff. So those are values you develop into a brand. Okay. So now you've got a brand and it has certain values. Now, what's the next step?
So the next step, and it kind of correlates with that, and I think there's a difference between marketing and branding. Marketing is a specific action to ideally drive a measurable and specific result, whereas branding is a little more broader, big picture. It's longer term investment in your business. So you got to get business, right? Find the best way to market your company, to get opportunities to then provide and sell your services. So marketing, branding, that's pillar number one. Number two, this is going to be, I mean, it's not in any particular order, but operations, right? I sold it. Now I got to produce it. Okay. So having a systemized approach to producing whatever it is you're selling, whatever widget is, whatever service you're selling, to be able to do that and have an excellent communication throughout the whole process. Depending on, in our case, it's roofing, right? So I have to get all the measurements. Sometimes we're doing insurance work. So we have to deal with insurance companies. We have to order the materials, make sure the materials are correct. They got to schedule the delivery. Then we got to schedule with the homeowner. Then we got to schedule the crews. Then we got to schedule the inspections. And we got to, schedule the final walkthroughs and all these things. There's a lot to construction, a lot to contracting, as you know.
Right.
And figuring out a system that you can rinse and repeat and do the same thing over and over and over again.
So now there's a couple ways to go about that, Randy, right? One way is join a franchise, right? There's a lot of franchise stuff, and they come with all the systems and branding and operation. That's what you pay for, right? Like, it's AL Air Homes or somebody that has a franchise says, we're going to supply everything. You supply the bodies and we'll supply everything else. That's one way. One way is there's probably books and systems, right? There's books written on what are good systems for a roofing company or a construction company. There's already people that have designed systems, right? And you can, either pay for it or read it or use a system that already exists. That's second. Or you can try to invent your own. Those are your options, right?
Yeah. And everything nowadays is all leveraged with technology, right? And there's a million different pieces of technology that you can look at to help systemize and help execute this, right? So production, got to be able to have operations and sell, produce, collect over and over and over, follow the same system and have the right people trained. Well, that's another category. But the next one too is sales. And a lot of us in the service industry, we sell based on natural instinct. We sell because I've been swinging a hammer for 20 years and I know what I'm doing. So I can go in and calculate what it's going to cost to build that deck or whatever it is I'm going to be building. And we sell ourselves based on instinct and don't have a lot of great training. So I believe that in order to really build something that's, duplicatable, repeatable, I've got to have a sales system as well. So I need to have a hiring and onboarding process for my sales team. I need to have a system. I need to have tools. I need to have presentations. I need to have estimating tools and all the things that it takes to implement a sales system for your organization. And then I got to have great leadership and the ability to hire and train great salespeople. So all that is quite a bit, but focusing on that was probably the biggest catalyst to me scaling my business, when I went all in on how do we professionalize the sales process? So that's number 3, which could be number 2. You can flip flop the 2 depending on how you're looking at it. Number 4 is people, HR, contractors. I didn't have any formal training on how to interview people, how to recruit people, how to hire people, how to manage people, how to do reviews. I didn't have employee agreements. I didn't have operation manuals. I didn't have any of these things. So I had to figure it out, right? So figuring out and professionalizing your process of interviewing, hiring, onboarding, training, and retaining.
That's what keeps us in business, Randy.
Vitally important. Absolutely. I mean, what do they say? Turnover. One person turns over, it costs you 6 months.
Right. I mean, we hired 2,000 or 3,000 people and 90% of them worked out. That's because we have the right systems, right?
Exactly.
So, you can't get around from doing it right. We can do it right for you, or you can do it right yourself, but you're going to have to follow a process that's consistent to get the right people. You can't shortcut.
Yep. And we
and
are
how your
obviously
nephew
quite
takes over.
aligned there. I mean, that's your specialty, right? So that's the next one. That was an incredible piece, right? You got to be able to do that, professionalize that, hire it out, whatever you're going to do it right. Like hire your people is so vital in the success of your business. I can't
Right.
even stress that enough. And then finally, numbers. Okay. Financial numbers. Track absolutely everything. Everything in your business that's trackable and measurable should be tracked and measured. And you should be able to create reports and create information that allows you to use those reports and use that information to make educated decisions on your business, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is profitability, right? We need to understand gross profit, net profit,
I would say the
overhead,
end
and
of the
all these
day
things. So we teach that.
is to have a great life and be profitable. If you have a crappy life and you're profitable, that doesn't work, right?
Absolutely not.
So to me, I would say, that's why my eyes, what is it? Make more money, less time, and have more fun. If you're not having more fun, the more money, less time doesn't do any good.
Yep.
So to me, it's profit in the context of having a worthwhile life. I mean, what are you going to call it? That comes
Quality
back
of
to
life is incredible, right? Yeah, we're very much aligned in that. I mean, mine is to empower high impact leaders in achieving financial freedom by building profitable and sustainable companies. In order for me
right.
to gain, I just spoke at a conference last week and, asked 200 roofing contractors, how many of you started your business because you wanted freedom? Every hand in the room goes up. They're all owners, right? Now I asked how many of you actually have freedom? All
Nobody.
the hands went back down.
Right.
Why? And that's and then we kind of lean into that and some of the things we're talking
Mhm.
about, but that's what creates that freedom. And you got to be profitable, right? And I used to have this fear of profit growing up, or kind of coming up in my business. It's like, I was like, we just, I don't know what it was, like this holdback of, I just want to do quality. I want to like hire a bunch of people and do all the things, but I didn't have enough of a sense of what the importance is of profitability, because then I didn't want to put this facade on that I'm like someone who I'm not as a leader, right? And then I realized, like, in order for me to provide for others and provide long term and have a sustainable company, I must have certain margins and have certain profitability in order to
Mhm.
do that. Profit is okay. It's okay to have money in the bank. It's okay to build wealth
Right.
for yourself. At the same time, create more time for yourself, and then do whatever you can to try to empower that in other people as well.
Right.
Mix all that together. Man, I lived an incredible life. And I'm so blessed because of it. But I learned a lot of hard lessons on the way.
Right. Well, what was this? What is it? A smart person learns from his own mistakes, and a wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Yep. I like that.
I think it's a lot easier than the mistakes of others. So, Randy, this is good stuff. If people want to get a hold of you, and I'm assuming you take mostly roofing contractors, but probably another guy could talk you into it. He was a nice guy. How do you work with people? What process do you use? How do they get in touch with you? What's it look like?
Yeah. So you mentioned assessment. We kind of have a little bit of an assessment. So you can go to our website, right? It's theroofingacademy.com. A lot of information on there. We have a podcast as well. It's called Start It, Build It, Grow It. It's called The Start, Build, Grow Show. There,
Right.
sense a theme there. Our programming is Start, Build, Grow. Like we kind of built a whole theme brand around all that stuff.
Right.
And so theroofingacademy.com, you can learn a lot about us. We have a YouTube channel, The Roofing Academy, where we have a lot of clips and different pieces from our podcast, as well as just a ton of free information. I've recorded videos for 10 years and put as much valuable information as you possibly can out there. And then social media, on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on, I don't think I'm on TikTok, but I have a media team. I don't know. We might be,
Right.
I'm not, but you can find us through there. Just look me up, Randy Brothers, on any of those platforms. And most of the time, the easiest way is just, shoot out a direct message if you have a question, or you can go to our website and fill out a form to book a call directly with myself. I still take all those calls as well.
And so, even if I'm not a roofing contractor, you'll talk to me. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good news to know. So everybody listening to this podcast, if you think Randy has what you're looking for, some information, I think he does, you'll find it value. I suggest you go to his website and take him up on his promise and give him a call personally. I'm sure you'll find the time well spent. So thank you, Randy. Really appreciate you being here.
Hey, man, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I wish all the viewers, all the listeners, the absolute best. Hopefully we brought a little bit of value. I think one of the things, if I was just to close at one thing, it's, figure out what you're good at and what you absolutely love to do, and build a vision of getting yourself to that place, and bring other people around you that are really good at the things you're not good at. And that is an
Right.
incredible recipe for success. And it takes a really good discipline in hiring incredible people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Take care.